Radiant team ban.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the Premier League Season 5 Radiance Cup Quarterfinals. Our second match of the day, our first match was Alliance vs Kaipi. Our second match, Mouz Sports vs Quantic Gaming. Two absolutely excellent teams going to duke it out for our enjoyment in this quarterfinal. Best of one, of course this is a best of one bracket, all the way through to the grand finals, which will be best of three. Casting for you today, I'm Vykromond, sitting in for Blaze. He's off celebrating his wedding anniversary. Congratulations to him and taking some much-deserved rest after casting this for the past couple cups. And we do have a returning caster. I will be joined by TriumphOfMan. How are you doing, my friend?
I want to start this cast off with an apology to Mouse Sports. I bet items on them again. They're screwed. Simple as that. No, I mean, I don't win. I rarely ever win items when I bet, so... Again, sorry that I've screwed this over, but we're going to start the bans off. Wisp getting knocked out here. Mouse Sports very worried about the Wisp being on board, and I don't blame them at all. Quantic, of course. Godblack loving those CIS players. They love their Wisp. Really aggressive heroes, so smart of them to ban it out. Who are the Lone Druid, though, banned by Quantic, along with the Nature's Prophet as well.
Yeah, one thing
so we're getting rid of some of those push heroes.
Yeah, definitely taking out two of Quakewa's strongest heroes. His hero pool is somewhat similar to Admiral Bulldog's, I'd say. He has a very good Lone Druid, great Nature's Prophet, great Clockwork. His Lone Druid a little less notable, his Clockwork I think a little more notable. But one thing I find interesting is Mouse Sports here going with a very standard ban pattern. So a lot of times you see teams bend over backwards to take out the Treant against Quantic. Maybe they even first ban Outworld Devourer. Mouse just taking out normal strong heroes. What do you think about that choice?
Oh, sorry. So just gonna grab
It disgusts you so much that
just flip the table. Why not? Why not just throw everything on the ground?
My
I was just looking at their bans. Pretty much every single game they play, it's Wisp, just bang, gone, just get rid of it. So I mean, you've got good reason to ban it against Quantic, but now that you mention it, yeah, they do actually ban Wisp an absolute crap load of the time. So I guess nothing. It's stock center stuff. Then they will open up with the Darkseer though. I like this. I mean, this gives them a very flexible lineup. Of course, they can throw... Darkseer can do a lot of things. I mean, you can throw him in the mid, you throw him in the safe lane, you throw him in the off lane, and he goes just about anywhere. So we're opening up with him. They get lots of team fight potential, they get decent push potential, and they have a very flexible lineup that they can adapt to what Quantic pick. And I like that. I like that with an opening pick from them.
Yeah. And no surprise that Treant left in the pool, and Quantic immediately secure it if they can. They take the Gyrocopter, most likely for Silent as the hard carry role, and the Treant Protector, of course... Godblack plays this hero like really nobody in the world. This is one of those heroes where nobody will argue if you say that Godblack is probably the best Treant Protector player on this planet. I mean, they just do things with this hero that no other team can. And Mouse Sports, they immediately respond with Treant's best buddy, Weaver, and they also take out Queen of Pain. So these highly aggressive heroes that can become even more aggressive in the solo lane with Treant Protector. Do you still think Quantic run things sort of similar to this? What's their second line of Treant solo heroes?
I mean, it's one of the weird things. I mean, we've seen stuff like Viper take the off lane with Treant backing him up. Like, he's really annoying to try and kill. I mean, a really strong like tri-lane situation where you've got 3 stuns / slows, of course, you can still bring him down with a fair amount of ease. But if you don't have that kind of firepower, it makes him, like, you can run almost anything up there, and it's very difficult to pick him off. I mean, we could even see something silly like a Windrunner. Like, Windrunner was a hero that used to get picked in that off lane all the time, and like with that, she can get so much more aggressive in terms of just harassing and trying to get stuck in there with the power shot. So I would even like to see something crazy like that. I'm a little bit sad that Treant got picked up because it means Godblack is unlikely to draft something else crazy. Like, I really want to see Skeleton King become a normal support. I'm not even joking. I really want to see it happen. I think it's got potential, but with the tree, it's not possible.
It's not.
And I mean, Quantic did do it. I think in the second cup they ran the Skeleton King support. Didn't work out though, but I wasn't blaming the SK though. I think it was just sort of an overall counter pick against them. Kind of messed them up.
There was a lot going on. Didn't they also had Spirit Breaker that game? Yeah. It was just all sorts of stuff. And I think now they do have the Outworld Devourer available because the Weaver's gone, the Queen of Pain's gone, but that does leave the OD. We were talking about it last game, Triumph, because I think there was a first phase Treant ban, so I think everybody's talking about Treant these days. He's just an interesting hero to kibitz about. Some people really hate him. people say he ruins the game because he makes it so boring. I don't know if I agree with that, especially when Quantic plays him. They just go completely balls to the wall, like super aggressive, and OD can definitely do that when backed up with the tree.
I think if you want to really piss Tree off, is run an offensive Trine.
Sure.
Because sure, he makes the Trine somewhat more difficult to kill, but he doesn't bring a lot to the lane. It's not like having something like a Lina in there with a CK. It doesn't have that terms of aggression. Sure, he's got a nice huge base damage, but the attack speed's not great, not mobile, and it's pretty, like, he doesn't bring a lot there. The Leech Seed can be irritating, but in a Trine situation, you don't really, like, you don't have the levels to get it up there really, really effective. And of course, he's going to be trying to level up that armor straight away, so it's not going to be super effective. So if you run a really killer tri-lane against him, I think that's probably the best way to piss him off, and shut him down and stop him from being so irritating. Because if he's spamming, if he's consistently having to spam living armor on his own lane, that means his mid is a lot easier to deal with, and his the 1v1 in the whatever other lane that's being run is a lot easier to take out as well. So if you've got two strong solo heroes that tend to win 1v1s, and if you can keep him focused on his own tri-lane, then you still have, like, the option to kill in the 1v1 lanes should be there for you. So I think that's what you can go for. And wow, a Lich being picked up. So this is interesting. So, I mean, the thing with a Lich... Oh, wait, you want to go?
Yeah, well, the Lich is a cool pick. I've seen Quantic take it. I've actually seen Navi running it more and more. And one of the options that you have with Lich is to run it as a off-lane solo. So you don't get amazing levels early, but it seems that Mouz, I don't know, they take the anti-mage. Black has been playing this hero more and more and more. I know he loves him. There was a brief period in which he thought that he maybe was a bit too slow for the metagame, but clearly they've revised that opinion because they run him all the freaking time. And I do think, to your point, I totally agree. Put a tri-lane right up in Treant's face, but can Mouz really do that? And if they run the safe lane tri-lane, how much will they be hurt by the fact that quite possibly one out of every creep wave will be taken out by this sacrifice?
Well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, is it necessarily... Wow, okay.
So
okay,
maybe
I mean,
aggressive try after all? I don't know.
That or it's a super greedy lineup where they just put Lifesteal in the jungle. That's the other choice there, I think. But I mean, just thinking about that, I mean, Lich may not be in the tri. For all I know, it could actually, I like the fact you mentioned that, because the thing with Lich is, with the Frost armor, he's hard to chase down. And on top of that, with living armor, of course, on top of that, he has a ton of armor, a ton of damage block, ton of regeneration there. And the thing is, if you throw that against a tri-lane, rather than going tri-lane versus, like, if you throw that against an enemy tri-lane, like, that's a lot of experience they're going to be losing. Not necessarily tri-lane versus tri-lane, but like the suicide versus tri-lane.
Right.
So you can really slow down their experience together. I kind of like that idea because, of course, Lichio just leveling, and his big impact, because I'll be honest, his nuke, his level 1 skill kind of sucks, the big one. It's not great at all. Small AoE, not that great damage.
Sure.
And he's more just about the chain frost, I think, in the big fights.
Yeah.
Sure, the nuke is nice, but... to be honest, in a competitive scene, I think they're just waiting to get that huge, big chain frost off. And when you lock someone down, like say, 2-3 heroes down with overgrowth, that's the perfect setup there, I think.
It is. And the other thing about position 3 Lich versus position 4 or 5 Lich, probably 4 in this case, I think Treant will end up being the ward slave in some respects. But if you do run the Lich 3, Aghanims is not so bad on him now, simply because the Aghanims itself didn't get buffed, but it got buffed indirectly by the Chain Frost bounces. That spell bounces so much now that you can almost just rely on, 5, 6, maybe 7 bounces in a fight, and when you add the extra damage on from Aghanim's Scepter, you can actually do a lot of work. But they take Windrunner, so... fucking Matt is playing this Windrunner. I think this means more likely than not it's a support Windrunner, and then that does put the Lich in the 3. What's your take on these lanes?
I don't mind the support Windrunner so much, especially since like, the Lich has such a potential there. I think it is. I honestly think it's the right way to go. They throw the Windrunner down there as a support role instead. It's not too bad, especially if they give him most of the pulling duties and stuff. Of course, he can help farm, and Windrunner doesn't need a lot of items to get rolling. To put in perspective exactly how much of a buff Chain Frost got, it got a 42% damage increase. That is huge. With the 3 extra bounces. Yeah, well, assuming they all land. But I mean, if you lock them down with the Shout Shot of the Overgrowth, I mean, pretty sure they're going to hit. But yeah,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
a potential 42% DPS increase, that is massive. Like, which other heroes get that kind of damage increase in terms from those buffs?
Not much. Not much in
Yeah.
terms of a 40% increase. You're completely right. And yeah, they will be running solo lane Lich. I like this a lot, honestly. I think there's a lot of heroes he stands up to fine solo, and it'll do some work for them. Let's go ahead and introduce the teams. Quantic, they have not been able to take a cup just yet. They've sort of been perennially in the semifinals or in the third place decider. I think the last time I actually cast Premier League was a third place decider match between EG and Quantic, where EG just won with Aghanim's Warlock. But we'll see what happens here. Silent on the Gyrocopter in the tri-lane. He will be supported by Goblak on what's quickly becoming his signature hero, the Treant Protector. And finally, fucking mad, filling out this lane with the support Windrunner. The other lanes for Quantic will be Funzy on the playing as Funsick, which I assume means that he is ill a bit, which is unfortunate. But OD mid, and finally we have Sakshka in the solo lane as Lich.
I think it's half glass full, glass half empty, glass half full. I think he's sick, as in fully sick, going to cause some massive pain. But here we go.
Maybe.
Possible engagement here in the bottom. No, not going to happen as Windrunner backs up. And Quakerfoot decides not to engage, although that might be just a bit of bait. Here we go. Cinder getting ready for the Illuminate. No, they're chickening out. Never mind. They're going to pull out of there, decide, we don't have enough vision. We're not too sure whether or not there's going to be a third hero rolling up. And there we go. The tree is there as well. Or will they go for it? They're just going to throw it in the counter ward as well. It looks like Mouse Sports are just going to play it safe. They're going to form up and then just push in after that, although they find a double damage rune. This might be what they wanted.
Interesting. Well,
I mean, not bad. I mean, I wouldn't give it to Lifesteal. Like, the thing is, they're not going to, like, it's not really going to improve your CSing that much. There's more about zoning here. It's more for having that, 30 seconds if I can smack your face in with the auto harass means that Koikova can get further up the lane and just aggressively CS. He won't have to worry about as much as being forced back by these other heroes. But anyway, I digress.
No, I think you're totally correct. It's a good laning tool. They have countered just about every jungle clump silent already. I mean, as you pointed out, this harassment coming out. And that's really what we have to watch for. I mean, you talked about the aggressive try. I applaud Mouz for taking this stance because I think, as you pointed out earlier, Triumph, if Treant spends this entire time keeping Silent alive in this lane, suddenly you don't have this overwhelming advantage in the middle. I mean, Fata will still be pressured a bit by Funzy in this lane, but maybe not as much because, of course, Ion Shell does damage no matter how low your intelligence is. As long as you have enough intelligence and you have mana coming in via bottle, you can still use that Ion Shell when you can get some last hits, and OD won't be able to just kill you if there's not a reliable source of living armor. And the same goes in the top. I think Lich does fine here, but it's one thing to do fine, and it's another thing to dominate the anti-mage because you always have living armor and you're right up in his face. So I think Mouz, they've made good moves, and I liked this last pick, Lifestealer. He's not banned out. He's still an incredibly strong hero. What's your take on this Trivi try?
This Trophy try, I think Mouse Sports should have the advantage here. They've got the really big nukes there. Illuminate as well as Soul Assumption can do a ton of damage. Like, see, fucking man, he's still taking a lot of damage there, being harassed back. And like I said, having to spam living armor on the Windrunner, on the Gyrocopter really means they've got to spend a lot of time there, a lot of focus, and they don't have that much counter harass because Tree really doesn't bring a lot to the lane otherwise. I should also mention. Yeah, it looks like he might be in a bit of problems there. It looks like he will get hit by the Illuminate. Pops the Rocket Barrage. Your Living Armor trying to keep him alive here. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. A couple more hits. Auto attacks to win, and there we go. There's the first blood. They will bring him down.
Yep. Very neat play from Mouz, actually. Just overall, nothing especially flashy. Just a smart setup that almost guaranteed them the first blood. They put up the wards. Actually, trouble for Goblak here. Now he's getting beaten down upon. There's the living armor. They're going to try to turn it around. Leech Seed getting thrown out of Visage. Pos taking a tremendous amount of damage. Silent just flat cannoning his way to that kill. And they trade 1 for 1. They lose the first blood, 1 for their carry, but they take down the Visage. But just to finish my thought, I guess, Mouz just very clean there, putting down the wards. They magic bush warded it, so they knew that it would eventually get dewarded, but Quantic were forced to be in the position of either taking care of that ward and starting to pull the jungle camps, or keeping Silent safe. And eventually, as soon as they rotated over to do the wards, Silent was too far up, the Grave Chill came out, the open wounds to follow, and pretty much an easy first blood, but just set up by Mouz really cleverly on the strategic perspective.
And speaking of which, they throw on yet another blocking ward there, so they're going to try and stop the next one. And here comes the Illuminate just to steal that farm. I really like what they're doing here. I mean, this pull here, I mean, they might even just leave it open, because every time they have to do this, like every time Quantic try and pull, they can just come over here and jack it very easily. So the Rage come out preemptively there from Lifesteal, just making sure he doesn't get blasted by the Rocket Barrage. Now, just should have mentioned that Fata, I mean, he's doing quite well here, though. Give it a couple more minutes, and he's going to start running into a few more troubles. Once Funzy gets a few more levels in Astral Prism and starts really spamming it hard, we're going to see Fata really struggle in terms of just the base mana pool. He's not going to have a whole lot to him there. And just checking the top lane as well, Anti-Mage currently 14-3 versus versus the 10-3 Lich. Lich is actually doing really well here. He's harassing the absolute crap out of Black. Black's struggling quite a bit. I mean, at 3.5 minutes in, you normally see Black with a lot more fun than this.
Definitely.
You know, Black Son of Burning.
Yeah. Yeah. Son of Burning, indeed. Yeah, I mean, Black only held to 14 last hit. Sakshka's done a good job of harassing. The flip side of, I mean, you pointed out Lich's nuke fairly weak, but he can cast it a heck of a lot more than a lot of heroes can cast their nuke, simply by using Sacrifice to consistently get more and more mana back. And that's the other thing, is the Sacrifice. Even if Black's last hitting is perfect, he misses out on one possible hit in almost every single creep wave. So, honestly, this Lich denying the anti-mage a lot already, and now with Phase Boots he can actually put out, I mean, you already saw the harassment. Now Black is actually genuinely going to have to be pretty careful to make sure he doesn't just randomly die to this Lich. He's going to have to do quite a few defensive blinks.
Yeah, I mean, Lich can skip the Ice Armor here. He doesn't really need it all that much. And in fact, going for the nuke, leveling up is a lot smarter just because, well, if he was against a Tri-Lane, sure, he'd need the Frost Armor. But in this case, it's an Anti-Mage 1v1. Sure, I can go and I can destroy him very easily. And then we go to spam the crap out. There's not much Anti-Mage can do about it. And to be honest, I don't think they were necessarily expecting to face up against a solo Anti-Mage, to be honest. I think they were more expecting the defensive Tri-Lane and then just possibly having the Darkseer on the offlane. I think that's what they initially expected when they saw the lineup. But like we said, Darkseer very flexible. They rotated to the mid lane instead.
Yeah, it was really this. I think it was really the last pick Lifestealer that opened up Mouz's draft quite a bit. Like, it let them run a lot more versatile lanes than I think they were going with before that. And yeah, credit to Cinderin for noticing that.
Oh, wow.
I missed the kill on the top. That's too bad. Sakshka overextending into that, I think.
Actually, Anti-Mage jumped him. He stood his ground and fought, though, but tanked too much. He probably would have got the kill, but Black just poured it at the last second, and then the creep finished him off.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I mean, to be fair, he probably shouldn't have. I mean, he could have. He thought he was going to get the kill. Soksha thought he was going to get the kill, but he should have just backed under the tower. He's only like 2 meters away from it.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, in the mid, I think Fata's held his own about as well as you honestly could expect, but that said, Sakshka, he is dominating. Sorry, I should say Funzy is dominating. He's going towards his buckler, so that'll be Mechanism pretty soon. I mean, OD, it's almost like easy mode in some respects, especially when you have that living armor, even if you make a little bit of a mistake or you take more harassment damage than you want. Grave Chill coming out and an Illuminate, but just a sort of instantaneous hip shot. I think Cinderin deciding not to fight after all. And Mouz, how do you feel they're doing so far? It feels to me like they're almost losing 3 lanes.
I'm not too worried about their bottom lane. I think that's going okay. The problem is more the fact that I think the OD is going to be the big force multiplier in the mid lane. Like, towards the mid game, if he gets the early mech, the early force stuff, that is going to cause a ton of pain if they just have... Because, see, the thing is, we look at this lineup here, I think the biggest thing that's going to let Mouse Sports down is their lack of team fight. If Quantic get the early farm there, like, they're getting the levels, they're getting the farm on the OD, and the Lich as well is not doing too bad. He's doing actually pretty well, good as well. Yeah, the Silent, on the other hand, I mean, him getting his early items, you know, whatever. The bigger thing is he's just going to drop cooldowns. You're going to have Tree Walk in, Root, cooldowns going to come in, Sounding's Eclipse. We've got Root, Sounding's Eclipse, and a Chain Frost. Mouse Sports, their big team fight is Illuminate.
Right.
Yeah.
And Quake actually taking quite a bit of harassment also. Just Cubs have to come back to the tower. I mean, he got these first 20 last hits very easily. My concern is almost the next 20, because at this point, Quantic are just muscling them. And yeah, like you pointed out, they don't have that much in the way of teamfight tools. Wow, Black taking gobs of damage again. This is the most dangerous lane opposition I think Black has had in a while, and it's all coming from this little Lich. Chain Frost not even used there. It's just the massive harassment from... It's interesting, he's chosen to max Sacrifice just for that infinite mana, basically. And he only has Frost Blast at 2. But
that's pretty normal, I think.
Yeah,
the max sacrifice, even back when we saw Lich, it was pretty much the way to go. Just for, like, purely the denied experience is a much bigger thing, and the constant spam is more useful than the sudden spam, because he's not going to get a kill here on Anti-Mage unless Anti-Mage does something really dumb, because he can just blink out all the time.
Yeah, but Anti-Mage, I mean, every time he sort of has to blink out, he's getting a bit lower. The time's going to come when Sakshka just says, yeah, now it's time to unleash Chain Frost, and if Black isn't very careful, that could be trouble for him. My concern for Mouse here is, I mean, they've gone with these supports, the Visage and the Keeper of the Light, especially Visage, just a dominant Tri vs. Tri hero. Actually, fucking mad, trading a little bit of harassment with Quake, but just using the Wind Run and just pecking away at him, and Lifestealer out of the lane again. Lost my train of thought there. Right, the Visage. This is a level-dependent hero. He needs that Soul Assumption to be pretty high level to be able to do that machine gun killing everybody. And Poss right now stuck at 3, really through no fault of his own. This aggressive try just hasn't, I feel really panned out.
Here's the thing my biggest worry is that Silent just charges in there. In fact, that's way too aggressive. I don't know what he was doing. So, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it now. Fucking man, some serious trouble. The Soul Assumption. There's 2 free kills. The game of throws. You win, then you feed.
Ooh. Yeah, just as I was saying that they were very, very comfortable. That was... I mean, Silent, we know he's got that tiger blood. He loves to sort of dive in, especially backed up by living armor, and even living armor isn't going to help you when you dive that deep.
Here's the thing. I mean, we think about it, like that. Basically, they went 2v3. Tree was not like, even if he'd been there, he wasn't going to do anything. Yeah. Because he's Tree. He's not level 6 yet, so I mean, he was doing all that he could, just get extra levels, get extra farm. I feel that the biggest issue here is not the tri lane for Mouse Sports. It's the safe lane. I really disagree with the anti-mage pick. If we had a Queen of Pain or a Storm in this lane, imagine how much different this game would look. Not only would they actually be able to stand their ground a lot better against Soxia, but on the other hand, you know, they can see us better. And the bigger fact is, at the 6 to 7 minute mark, they can rotate and start crushing either OD or the tri-lane down bottom lane much more easily.
Nice call down by Silent, actually. Steals a kill right there, right under the tower. This is what he wanted to do before. It's just neither of the hits of call down actually landed, and he still went in. But this time he gets it, and actually he doesn't even need to dive. That was really neat. And yeah, Triumph, I mean, I know Black, not that fond of, I think, playing like Storm Spirit in a 1 position, but certainly this anti-mage is not going to be that effective for a while. You can see he's nowhere near Battle Fury right now, sitting on Tranquil Boots, Poor Man's Shield, and Ring of Health. That's going to be a slow Battle Fury, and that puts a lot on Quakeva's shoulders to really just generate all of the opportunities until anti-mage is actually ready to fight. So yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. This Lich anti-mage lane, even though Lich is only 14 last hits ahead, it's so much less important for him to farm than it is for AM to farm, and AM's not farming.
I think they probably, like, when they set up these, I really think that they thought they were going to get Windrunner on the off lane and Lich would be coming to the tri lane. I think that's what they were expecting, but it didn't pan out.
Oh, Silent, once again diving incredibly deep. He uses the call down. I don't know if this can save him. Quakefa beating down this Gyrocopter. Is there a tunnel for him? No, there isn't. He's just going to try to TP out. Actually, I think he makes it out. No stuns. No familiars. No, not even mana leak. Not that that would have worked there, but Mouz spending a lot of mana, a lot of effort, and they still don't get the kills.
I mean, at the same time, though, it's a lot of farm time lost from Silent, because he's got to go all the way to the base and then walk back out. Preferably, of course, I would have preferred the kill, but not a terrible result. Making him waste money on the ports and then the time of backing out is an okay result. And, of course, it buys time for lifesteal to start lasting as well. Looks like fucking man's actually getting aggressive. That said, Quakefa charges in, decides not to go for it, though. And so we see the Leech Seed tossed down there on pass. Probably not anything going to result from that, though. Yeah. Meanwhile, though, Black, 38-3, really not having a... When was the last time you saw Black this underfarmed at the 11-minute mark?
I think the last time they picked Spectre, it went this badly. But he's not on Spectre right now. He's on a hero who's far more of a laning presence and still held really down. I think Lich is honestly the new meta IMO. He's very, very strong. Fucking Mad tries to set up the shackle there, but doesn't quite find the angle for Quakefa. But that would have been a dangerous spot for the Lifestealer too. I don't know. I just feel Mouz, they're not really getting the balance of any of these lanes. And Lich in particular, what is he actually building? Because he doesn't have mech to build. It looks like he's just building a drums. So it's actually a race car Lich. I kind of like this.
I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, Lich, of course, has pretty good natural speed, so he's going to be very, very difficult to pin down in the fights. That said, I think the biggest problem here for Mouse Sports, not only that, not only the team fight aspect, but the fact that they have put absolutely zero pressure on Funzy. He's got the mech, he's going to be working towards the 4-star more than likely in a moment, and they've got not much to put pressure. That said, Lich top lane. Lich has to be in a bit of trouble now. 3v1, this may be a bit of an issue, or maybe not. If he can bait them, this is going to be a really painful chain frost, although it looks like they will back out, and now Pass likely to die here. They've got nobody to save him. He's going to throw out the Soul Assumption, not going to do nearly enough damage. In fact, Funzy even came top as well, not that they needed him.
In slight praise of Mouz, even though they lose Visage there, that triangle formation that they stood in to make sure that Chain Frost would not be able to bounce in any way, I really, really liked that. And you saw Sakshka, I mean, intelligently not even bother with the Chain Frost, but Cinderin now caught under tower, and when you're under tower against Silent, you have to realize, actually the power shot will clip him and kill him, but towers are not safe when you're facing Silent. He has no compunction to just charge you under there.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really out of the tower. It's like San came in from behind, and he was like he thought he was safe standing here. He's like, you know, I'll stand here. I'll be safe. I'll fire a long range eliminate. I'll be a pain in the butt. You know what? He got a pain in the butt. Silent charges in there and destroys him, and now they're going to take the tier 1 top lane as well. I don't think there's going to be any... Like, even if they plot up here to defend, they're going to get crushed by Funzy, so I don't think they want to come up here.
Yeah, almost certainly not. This Outworld Devourer is very scary. He's level 11, and the highest level person on Mouz is actually level 9. So already, as you said, no pressure exerted by Mouz. Keeper of the Light, not the world's greatest roaming hero. Visage can roam, but as a pair, they're really better suited to clashing in that try versus try. And there really weren't that many clashes to go around. Mouz won one big fight, but other than that, Quantic basically working unimpeded. One other quick thing I want to note, Triant actually got a decent amount of early jungle farm. That's what led to his quick arcane boots, and so his sustain is essentially infinite, and he can continue to jungle. Meanwhile, actually, they take down Koikva in the bottom. I'm sorry I missed that kill. I just tabbed in as it was ending, but the Chain Frost used there.
Yeah, I mean, this is why Lich is really like... This is why he's not spending against the Animage, because it's so easy for Animage to screw it. And this is one of the big issues, of course, with Chain Frost still. It is a massive cooldown. Like, look at the cooldown time. Like, that was a level 1 he cast, and he just leveled up after the kill, but so it was only level 1 he used. It's 145 seconds. That's one of the largest cooldowns of the game.
Sure.
At 145 seconds. You do not want to spend that on a hero that's unlikely to get a kill against. It's why he's been holding on and not, like, even trying to kill Anti-Mage with it at all. As it looks like we're going to have a port in. Lifestealer jumps in there. Decides to back out. They decide to back out, though. Lifestealer not getting close enough to throw. And I don't think he would have gone for that.
Yeah.
Batter's not going to have the damage there to kill him.
It would have been Windrunner, too, who, of course, has the... There's the open wounds, actually, but Windrun immediately used its... Gets right out of there, uses a bit of mana, but... Fucking mad, I don't think that's scared.
Windrun, Ice Armor,
yeah.
Tree Armor, you're not going to kill him.
You really aren't. Yeah, of course, Ice Armor, not to be underrated either. It's a very substantial mid-game team-fighting utility, because... Even at level 1, it provides that 30% move slow, 20% attack slow. Against a Lifestealer, when he doesn't have his rage, when he's not in rage form, it's actually a pretty substantial slow.
Yeah, it is really, really irritating to try and chase somebody down with that. I'm just looking at Funzy. Funzy now 1,700. I think he might. I just wonder. He may even skip the 4-star. We'll see. He might even say screw this and just go straight for something like a Hex because he's getting such a good farm. And the thing is, he doesn't need the defensive force out that badly because, like I said, they've got so much healing. Like they've got so many defensive abilities to keep them safe. And the other big deal, of course, mouse bots don't have a lot of burst, so it's difficult to instantly it's difficult to insta give him. So he can probably sustain through that. And if he's really in trouble, just Astral Imprisonment himself, and then just wait for somebody to come in and cover him. Of course, Astral Imprisonment, wait for Tree to waddle up, and then throw down his Overgrowth. And then that pretty much fixes that. And of course, he can pop out and then just kill everybody with Sanity's Eclipse. Because let's look at that lineup. I mean, maybe Keeper. And Visage might be left standing after the Sanity's Eclipse. Everybody else is going to explode.
Well, maybe if Lifestealer happens to be in range form. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Funzy already has that level 2 Sanity's Eclipse, because, of course, the faster OD levels, the higher of an advantage it is. You can see he's got 76 intelligence right now. Even Keeper of the Light has only 36. That's an enormous int difference. When we look at something like Anti-Mage, he has 34. I think you're completely right that usually very early on, you don't need to worry about the Sanity's Eclipse that much, simply because the intelligence difference is not dramatic. But when this OD is dominating as much as he is in terms of getting XP, I mean, he even has, he already switched his Tranquils to Power Tread's intelligence form, just for more int. Like, usually you see OD hang on to those Tranks a little longer, just because they can proc the Essence Aura. But here, Funzy, he's had really his pick of the litter as far as items go. They could get pincered here, though. Fata's in Invis form. They want to sort of try to make something happen. Probably not before the tower goes down, so fucking Mad trying to escape. He's still got Windrun available. There's the Overgrowth. Will they use this as an escape tactic? Maybe not. Silent coming around the back, and the Sanity's Eclipse goes down. Tremendous damage. Keeper of the Light already on the ground. Black got clipped in the top, meanwhile. Visage in an Astral Prison. I think Funzy just seeking to kill Secure there. No! It'll be Windrunner with a triple kill with the additional power shot, and that's actually Mouz taking 4 deaths in that fight. Just completely clearing them out. I could only watch one fight, but another one developed at the tier 2 top there, and Mouz,
yeah, it was just Black being ganked.
Yeah. Alright.
I mean, yeah, Black's been so getting hammered. I mean, that said, credit where credit's due. I mean, against that lane, he still managed to pick up 67 last hit, so not a bad effort when you're already, pretty much automatically losing 25% of your farm just because Lich is Lich. As we're going to see Cinderin get chased off there by Silent. Silent getting very aggressive indeed. He's opened up with the Yasha. Interesting to see how this sort of the builds have adapted. There we go, Astral Imprisonment, cooldown coming in as well. It might be, no, it's not too early. Is to give there on the Keeper of the Light, and Fatta now in a lot of trouble as well. Rocket Barrage going to get stomped. Absolutely stomped as Silent goes in for the body block. And now it's not done yet. Not done yet at all. There's the slow from Lich. Thrown down on Pass. Pass gets blown apart. And now it's just Anti-Mage and Lifestealer to stop this push on the top tier 3. And I mean, the sustain they have right now, they've got the mech, they've got living armor. They can just stand here and take it. They've got the arcane boots as well. They've got the mana. They've got everything.
I think they can high ground. I mean, they're barreling down here. They're going towards Pipe. They'll actually have it done pretty soon for Lich, so already going against the Keeper of the Light later, they might not even need it. Synderen only has level 2 Illuminate because he's level 5. That aggressive Trilane didn't get them the kills, and now neither of their supports even have their ultimates. Mouz trying to make a stand here, but they'll at the very least lose the melee racks. The question is, how much more does Quantic want? How greedy are they going to get? Silent barreling down this ranged racks. Quakefoot comes in, call down in the response. Silent gets out of it, no problem. There's the overgrowth. The Chain Frost hits Fata, bounces pretty much the wrong way, but Fata on the ground, Quakefoot on the ground. I don't think Poss makes it back to the fountain. No. Mouz will GG out, and Quantic showing off the power of their unorthodox strategies. I mean, OD and Lich taking control here.
Alright, I'm going to blame... Honestly, I think Mousesports had the right idea, but they had a bit of an issue. I think they didn't commit. They needed to go, alright, the offensive try, we need this to work. We need this really, really to work. And the problem was they tried to have it both ways. They tried to have their cake in it. They wanted the offensive try to try and shut down that lane, and then they also, at the same time, wanted Black to farm up 1 million CS in the top lane by herself. I think they should have just said, let's get something who can fight. Someone who gets to level 6 and then fights, because this is what really let them down. As we saw when that top push came, Mousesports, no team fight. What do you do against Sandy's Eclipse, Call Down, Chain Frost, and Overgrowth? You've got nothing. You've got Illuminate, and you've got a Vacuum, but nothing to work off the Vacuum. They've got barely any CC at all. We saw it in the bottom lane where Gyrocopter could TP out. There's no stuns, nothing down there. They just have no team fight. No CC, no team fight, not even any huge amount of burst potential. Yeah. And I think that's honestly what let them down. If they had that team fight, they would have done a lot better this game. If that top lane wasn't an anti-mage, regardless of how badly it didn't get farm, if it was something that just got to level 7 and has huge nukes, has huge stuns, so much more effective, I think. But, you know what, that's hindsight is 2020.
Definitely. And I agree with you that somewhat, because I feel that because they didn't get the levels, Mouz's lineup was eventually just sort of revealed as a paper tiger, right? Like, they didn't have the levels for Keeper of the Light. I actually think both Keeper and Visage get a lot of teamfight tools at 6. Keeper has the recall, so he can pull back somebody that's split pushing. He gets the Blinding Light, which is a perennially underrated ability. Big AoE mischance for that Outworld Devourer and the Gyrocopter. And then Visage, of course, the Familiars can do tremendous work, but they just didn't get much out of the tri-lane. Their supports ended up behind on levels, and Quakefoot wasn't really dominating. And then, because Anti-Mage wasn't able to just present any sort of danger due to the late Battle Fury, I mean, not just late, it never happened. They just didn't really have anything. And so Quantic called their bluff. They were just like, okay, 15 minutes high ground is early, but if you can't stop us, who's to say what's too early? And looking really good, frankly, Quantic with that game, and I think you did jinx them, Triumph. You did it.
Yeah, I know. I bet on people, they lose. Simple as that. So everybody could be nice to me, or I'll bet on your team. I'm gonna be honest. Even if Anti-Mage had a Battle Fury, I mean, what's he gonna do? He's gonna show up, hit somebody twice, and then he's gonna have Sandy's dropped on his face. And he's gonna explode, or get hit twice by Arcane Orb and melt. So there's not much he can do. Even if he had that farming tool and he was farming up a storm, the problem is Quantic just group up and say 5v5 me or die. Simple as that.
Exactly. Thanks for watching, folks. That was our second quarterfinal match of 4 in the Premier League Radiance Cup, the 4th of 7 cups, followed by a playoff cup that we will be having this season. You can check this tournament out by picking up an in-game ticket, so you can buy that on either the Dota store or on the Premier League website, thepremierleague.eu. Your casters today, of course, Blaze is out. He's off celebrating his anniversary, but Vykromond and TriumphOfMan. Triumph, you rebuffed my advances to promote your Twitter, so is there anything else you want to promote?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Of course, everybody, if you want to do something good, buy a ticket in game because, of course, the proceeds go to support the league things. And having these leagues up and running is exactly what we need for teams to be winning money and, of course, giving us good Dota. But next up, I think in roughly 10 minutes, we've got Quantic up against Alliance. If memory serves me correctly, it should be that game.
Wait. So,
I think,
are we running that semi before the rest of the quarters? You might be right. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's scheduled for 4 p.m.
All right. Fair enough.
CST, so
all right,
I think we can double check it.
Yeah, no worries. We'll get up into that game in just a second. And quick just promotion, of course, I talked about the in-game ticket. You can, of course, also check out the Premier League's own social media. So right on the Twitch page, twitch.tv/the Premier League, you can see Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You can join the Steam group. You can go to the shop. You can get things like, if you want one of the couriers from the previous seasons without bothering to get, an in-game ticket that's no longer relevant, you can pick that up here. And then finally, talk about the website real quick. This was redesigned for this season. Pretty cool website. Main thing I want to talk about here is the contest. So we click up to the contest tab here once you're on this website. You can check out a contest from the Premier League's primary sponsor for the season, Norton. Just fill out some of your information here, download the free trial there, and You can check that out. Enter to win a TPL Season 5 package. Thanks for checking us out, folks. We will have the next game in, I believe, 10 minutes, and we're just going to confirm what that is. You'll see it up on stream. Thanks for watching. See you in a bit.